It continues with the dead, not in a grave, not in a battlefield, but drifting, torn open like packages, faces frozen in final screams, limbs twitching in vacuum, trailing ribbons of red that evaporate into the black. That's what we find first, when we answer the St. Raza's distress beacon. It's not a war zone. It's a warning. We don't listen. They called us the 119th Shock Division. Black ice. Fast, brutal, expendable. The tip of the spear for the United Earth colonies. Though we were more like bullets fired into the void. We wore void-sealed armor stitched with carbon lattice and low thermal plating. Our pulse rifles hissed instead of barked. Our suits pumped stimulants directly into our hearts. We didn't knock on doors. We breached them. I was Staff Sergeant Reka Vale, Martian-born, DNA-coded to withstand low-gravity collapse and high-G burns, two-time survivor of atmospheric breach, one of the last living veterans of the Ganymede Revolt. I wasn't ready for what was coming. We found the Saint, Raza in orbit around a forgotten rock called Indra 9, ice world, resource-rich. Its core was a cocktail of heavy elements and frozen water, prime terraforming material, our last best hope of feeding the colonies. The freighter was tumbling, slow and graceful like a corpse adrift in water. No heat signatures, no life signs, just that distress beacon, still pulsing, automated, synthetic, eerily calm. We should have nuked it from orbit. Instead, command sent us in. Standard breach. Me, Diaz, Corporal Venn, Cora, Harper, and the rookie, Asau. 6 of us, 1 dead ship. We breached mid-hull, right into the crew quarters. What we found wasn't war, it was butchery. The walls were painted with blood, not smeared, not splashed, painted. Symbols drawn in spirals, looping in patterns that shimmered under UV light like bioluminescence. No bodies, just parts, a jaw, 3 fingers, a torso peeled open and arranged like a flower. The worst part? It was warm. Jesus, Asau whispered, holding back vomit. Keep your voice down, I snapped. They could still be here. He looked at me like I was crazy. Who? Everyone's dead. No, not everyone. Something did this. Something smart enough to send the beacon. We heard scratching in the vents. Harper pointed his rifle upward. Movement. No, Cora said. We froze. It's not movement, she whispered. It's breathing. Protocol said we should fall back, reassess, get eyes in orbit and burn the ship. But protocol doesn't mean much when command doesn't answer. Our comms were jammed, no outgoing signal. The moment we crossed the breach line, it was like someone had wrapped the ship in silence. Thick, suffocating silence. We're not alone, Diaz said. This wasn't pirates. This wasn't malfunction. Then what the hell was it? We didn't know. Not yet, but the scratching was getting closer. And the walls were starting to bleed. A lonely echo, bouncing between relay satellites. Static, garbled words. A looping message transmitted from the far edge of the Kuiper Belt. Request immediate evac. Unknown organism. Crew compromised. Burning doesn't stop it. Please, God, don't let it in. They called it a malfunction. They sent us anyway. The St. Raza was a colonial freighter, 300 meters long and packed with cryobays, water recyclers, and fusion-grade extractors. She went dark 3 days into a routine harvest over the ice moon Indra 9. We were the response team, United Earth Colonial Forces, 119th Shock Division. Black ice. We didn't do rescue. We did cleanup. We were the black box they didn't talk about on news feeds. 6 of us dropped from the carrier Apostle. Staff Sergeant Reka Vale, me, Corporal Diaz, combat medic. Private Cora, Xenotech. Corporal Ven, heavy. Specialist Harper, systems. Private Asau, green and doomed. Our orders were simple: board the derelict, recover the crew or what was left, and secure any exotic contamination. They didn't tell us the ship was breathing. We breached the main hull at Frame B-maintenance ring. The lights were out. Emergency power flickered like dying neurons. Blood trails floated in zero-G, curling like ink in water. Inside, everything was quiet. Then Cora whispered, "This isn't right. The walls are warm." She was right. We pulled thermal scans. The metal wasn't metal anymore. It pulsed faintly. Organic matter, grown over the ship's structure like tumors, a skin of some alien weave coiled into support beams. Diaz found the first body in hydro-recycling. Technician fused to a wall of moist, rubbery growth. No injuries, no blood, just absorbed. Face frozen mid-scream. We pushed deeper. The gravity was unstable. Ven's boots clipped the floor as the artificial field pulsed and failed. Then we saw it. A humanoid shape slumped in the corridor ahead, twitching. "Survivor?" Harper asked. We moved in slowly, rifles raised. It wasn't a survivor. It was wearing a survivor. Skin was stretched across a misshapen frame like plastic wrap, ribs bulging outward. A second mouth had split its chest. Fingers had multiplied, spiraled backward, fused with the rifle it still clutched. The face looked half human, half melted. Its eyes blinked at us. Then it screamed, a sound like tearing metal and animal agony, and charged. Ven dropped it with a rail burst, but it didn't stay down, not until Cora melted half its body with a plasma torch. It thrashed as it died, really died, slapping wet against the wall, leaking a black-red substance that hissed and moved on its own before evaporating. Asau was shaking. "It's them, isn't it? The aliens, the Eltari." "No," Diaz muttered. "The Eltari don't do this." She looked pale. "This is worse." The ship changed the deeper we went. Metal turned porous. Lights pulsed like veins. Sections of corridor had faces stretched under clear film. Lips moved, but no words came out. We reached the bridge, or what was left of it. The command crew were fused into their seats. Not bound. Fused. Spines merged with control nodes, fingers grown into the consoles. One of them was still alive eyes, tracking us, unable to scream. A tear slid from one eye. That's when the bulkhead breathed. Literally. It expanded and contracted, groaning under the weight of something moving behind it. Harper froze. This isn't a ship anymore. It's becoming something else. Then the wall split open, and it pulled him inside. The message Harper was decoding had one line, repeated. "It learns what it eats." The St. Raza wasn't infected. It was the infection. Something had burrowed into it. Something Eltari, maybe, but evolved. Smarter. It turned metal into muscle, engines into lungs, humans into cells in its nervous system. Cora pulled open a wall panel and found a bundle of human arms fused into a power node. They twitched when exposed. "It's not spreading like a virus," she said. "It's building, designing." Ven whispered, "To do what?" I checked the nav system. "It's moving." "Where?" "Earth." Diaz was injured. Acid burn from a creature that had once been Harper. Cora was coughing black fluid. Asau had stopped speaking, just stared at the walls like they were whispering to him. The ship no longer needed us dead. It wanted us rebuilt. We reached the drive core. It pulsed in a chamber of bone and tendon, a glowing sac wrapped around a cocoon of liquefied crew. Inside, faces floated. Eyeballs blinked in the transparent membrane. The engine was sentient. and it was gestating. We detonate it, I said. We burn it. We take this whole thing out before it gets home. Cora handed me the charges. She was too far gone. Her veins pulsed silver. Asao screamed. His body cracked as his spine reversed, legs folding backward, mouth stretching into a vertical slit. Diaz shot him twice before he stopped moving. "Go," she said, handing me the detonator. "I'll hold the hallway." I didn't look back. I launched in an escape pod as the ship tore itself open behind me. The void swallowed the saint. Raza in silence. Then light. The explosion was alive. It didn't scatter. It moved. It screamed across comms in Harper's voice, in Diaz's, in mine. But I made it. I was recovered 27 hours later, drifting near the rings of Indra 9. No one believed what I saw. Not until the next ship went silent, and the next colony, and the next moon. The infection was already in the systems, in the machines, in us. They say war is hell. They don't know what waits in the dark between stars.